Hello everyone, and welcome back to the glorious myth-busting world where we conduct our research and investigations to learn all the Minecrafty things there are to know about this game and its newest update. And with 1.17, the Caves and Cliffs update part 1, we have 3 new mobs added to the game, one of which is the glow squid, which doesn't appreciate being out of water. And then we have the goat. This one comes with a rare variant that has a 2% chance of naturally generating in your world. It is the screaming goat. It is more aggressive than regular goats, and it also has some comical noises that it makes, as it does indeed scream. And then there is the axolotl, another aquatic creature that doesn't appreciate being out of the water. There are 4 different common types of this, which have just under a 25% chance of generating in your world. And then there is a rare variant, this one right here, the blue axolotl. This has a 1 in 1,200 chance of spawning, which makes it less than 0.1% chance of appearing in your world. And here is a fun fact for you. There was also a green variant of the axolotl that never made it into the game. This appeared at Minecraft Live, but didn't make the final cut. And so this episode of Myth Busting is about running these mobs through some classic tests that we've done time and time again to learn all the ins and outs about their behaviour and interactions in the Minecraft world. And I am also breaking a tradition with this video. We are actually recording with a snapshot, 21W20A. I'm fairly sure 1.17 will be around the corner now, so I don't suspect too many changes. However, if there are any significant ones, look out for a pinned comment explaining what they are in the comments box down below. So now let's get into our classic tests. First of all, with the name tag. You can see the glow squid doesn't get flipped upside down by the dinner bone tag. What about the goat? This one actually flips its model, and that might be considered a bug. And the axolotl also gets its model flipped. And maybe it's not a bug. I don't think I ever knew this, but the original squid is also immune to this flipping upside down effect. So what about being fished? Can we use the fishing rod to manipulate their movement? We can with the axolotl. The glow squid, only a tiny bit. And then the goat can also be manipulated by the fishing rod. And all 3 of these mobs can also be leashed, like this. And last of all, we have the classic boat test. You can see here that the glow squid doesn't want to get inside of the boat. However, the axolotl and the goat can be transported by the boat. So let's do the classic I am Golem test, where we see if they interact with one another in any way. These seem to be good. Those seem to be good, as expected. And then when it comes to the goat can be randomly aggressive towards other entities. So let's get rid of the squid and the axolotl, and let's get a screaming goat inside of here. And as I suspected, eventually it would target a nearby entity, that being the iron golem, because they don't target one another. And the iron golem then happily fights back to defend itself. There was also a bit of ninja jumping going on with the goats getting in and out of the testing area. Now things are about to get a little bit destructive, and this will probably be a short-lived test. I mean, the glow squid can't even attack back, but we know the wither is aggressive towards it. Will it be aggressive towards the axolotl? It will. And then obviously it's going to be aggressive towards the goat. My thinking here is that the goat might target the wither eventually. And even if I put a lot of these into the world, that's going to be really difficult to figure out. So I built a cage to contain the wither, and another one with barrier blocks to contain the goats. And after a little bit of time, one of them attacked the wither, and that actually helped it break out of the cage. And so we have another murderous mob in the game, Johnny, which will predictably go after the axolotl. And then after the glow squid, and after the goat as well. But what we need to do here is just conduct a test to see if the goat is going to attack back. So I have built a cage with barrier blocks, and we can summon in lots of screaming goats inside of there. And then I'm going to summon this fella inside, who only has 1 hit point of health. So if a screaming goat attacks him, he is then going to die. And Johnny has now killed hundreds and hundreds of goats. I have run this test several times, and every time Johnny kills all of them, and he never gets attacked by a screaming goat. That is, of course, most curious, so I'll be inquiring into the game code and seeing if there's any insights there. But for now, the testing will continue, And here's a classic one you might not be aware of, but some mobs can be converted by a lightning strike. So that pig became a piglin. And I'm fairly sure that this isn't going to be true of any of the new mobs, as we probably would have learned that already. The axolotl is up next. No conversion. And then the goat is still a goat, or a dead goat, unfortunately. So this is the area where we test different potion effects on the mobs as well, like jump boost. And you can see there, that's not affecting them, which is unsurprising. Same with the glow squid. The thing is though, we should put some water down and see if it's any different when these creatures are actually in their natural habitat. And unsurprisingly, the answer is no. There's no jumping out of the water going on here or anything like that. Now this is obviously already going to be different with the goat because the goat has a jump ability. However, we'll summon some without effects first, and you can see that they will sort of step up the ledge, which isn't their jump ability. The jump effect actually affects that part, as you can see when they try and go up a ledge. That's when they go right up into the air. And the stronger the effect, the higher up they go. Oh, this is my favourite part of myth busting right here. Now I did want to test this on their regular jumping ability as well, but one of the things they need to do is pathfind to a location that they decide to jump over. And actually creating an environment that will do that is kind of tricky in my experience, and so I'm not sure if it affects their actual jump behaviour, but this is pretty hilarious. One of the things you may have noticed is that the goats were not taking full damage when coming back down to Earth. This is because goats can actually absorb full damage. If we drop one from 105, it's going to die of full damage, and if we drop it from 104, you will see that this thing will survive, and it will only have a 1 heart of health. So now we're going to summon a goat from 95, and there's a reason that there's glass here. It's to hold it in place so I can use a command, and this will show us the goat's health, which is 9. This then means when we drop it in from 1 block lower, it would then have a full 10 hearts, and it wouldn't have taken any full damage at all. So there's some math involved here, and I'll simplify it into an answer. The first 14 blocks it's not going to take full damage, and then over the next 10 blocks it will take 1 heart per 1 block. And in doing all of this, I discovered that the slowness effect doesn't work on the goat, because rather than using glass, I was just going to give it a lot of slowness so it gets stuck in one spot. And you can see the particle effects there. Yeah, slowness doesn't affect the goat. I was not expecting to learn that. So what about the slow falling effect? Look at this. Axolotls can drift down gracefully. The glow squid doesn't though. It actually doesn't work on a glow squid, but it does work on the axolotls and the goats. And of course, as we do, we're going to test this with levitation. Okay, yep, they're all going up. And, it works on the glow squid. I wasn't actually expecting that since slow falling didn't work on it. Now, I'll admit it, a lot of these tests are rather cruel, right? Well, this next test is cruel on innocent little turtle eggs, so we know that certain mobs don't like them. They go after the turtle eggs and they give them a good stomp. Let's find out what happens with these new ones. First of all, the goats. Looks like they're not bothered at all. Yeah, I wasn't expecting anything unknown here. Obviously, they can pathfind onto and over the block, but there's no stamping animation going on. And with the glow squids, you know, they're pretty much just going to hang out, do nothing, and then die because they're out of the water. Well, there is one thing that we've learned, though, is that it's not like they avoid these blocks, so axolotls and goats can actually damage your turtle eggs. So one of the tests we do in new mobs is to find out if they drown. This is obviously inferior if we know a mob is aquatic. The glow squid that was in here was killed by the axolotls, and the goats did drown, so no surprises here. These tests are so cruel. I'm sick and tired of putting these mobs through these ridiculous tests. I mean, nothing new to be learned here. None of them like lava or fire. The next test is about how do guardians interact with the new mobs, and we know a lot about the axolotl already, and we also know that guardians attack squids. And you can see here that they will attack the glow squid variant as well, with some unusual behaviour, it would seem. Now, as you probably know, the axolotls are actually going to go and attack the guardians too. And we may be able to glean some insights here. You see this one that's playing dead? It just took damage from the Guardian when it had its thorns extended. So that is the same behavior as with the player, meaning when the thorns are retracted inwards and the axolotls attack them, they don't receive thorns damage. And look at this, these three are all playing dead and then the Guardians aren't doing anything because of that. Yeah, look, they're not choosing to attack until the axolotls come back to life. And in a fight of 5v3, 4 axolotls survived. Now, what about our goats? You can see here that the Guardians, they actually leave them alone completely. Now, I've been conducting a test to see if the screaming goats attack the Guardians. They all have 1 heart of health, meaning if they attack one with its thorns extended, it would die. And then I would be able to visibly observe that, but so far, not one of them has died. And again, it's another failed test with seeing them use their attack. So I reach out to Nembom, who had a look into the code, and apparently they won't attack a random entity, but the first one that was loaded into the chunk that they are. So I conducted the test again, making sure that Johnny the Vindicator was added first, but after some time, again, they didn't attack him. And sadly for us, that leaves me with many questions about how the goat's attacking feature actually works. Some deeper investigation will be required. And so, my friends, this concludes today's episode of Myth Busting. If you've enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like and use hashtag myth to put your questions in the comments box down below. I'll be looking out for them, as the next one that we're going to do will be investigating all of the new blocks that were added in this update. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon in the next one. Bye bye.